Welcome to Mine Explorers, episode 64, where I am joined by my terrible ex-wife and her awesome cat, Blue.
How about welcome to episode 64, where I'm joined by Blue and some tall guy.
He calls me tall guy.
Tall man.
Tall man. He only likes tall man sometimes, but he likes me today, which is why I said he's awesome, Blue.
Well, I've been out for a week, so...
He gets friendlier when Crystal's gone.
Yeah, when I'm not home, he turns into a very...
So what does that say about you? When you're around, he gets cranky. When you're gone, he gets nice.
I give him all the love he needs.
Oh, and then he just needs other love.
Well, he's a little demanding at times.
Also today, I Am Mining, which is the I Am Mining campaign from AEMA, the Association for Exploration, Mining.
America Exploration and Mining Association.
Yes.
One of those.
But they have the I Am Mining campaign, which is great. They make videos where people talk about their careers and being in mining and how they got into mining, and it humanizes the industry.
Yeah.
I think it's a great thing. And they have these little name tags, which are fun. I've been wearing it all day.
Yeah, they've been doing the campaign for a couple of years now, and the videos they produce are fantastic. Yeah, just like a little introduction of what people do in the industry and how it relates to everyday life, because mining affects all of us, believe it or not.
Affects all of us.
Yeah.
And speaking of making videos in the industry, we had Richard Bishop on the show last week, filming live from Virginia in the Virginia Department of Energy Rock Garden, which is very cool. They bring in big rocks from all over the state, and they have numbers on them that they put on, and then a plaque that says where they're from and everything.
Oh, how cool.
They had some really cool pieces, including a big chunk of kyanite from the Kyanite mine that I got to tour. I actually have a cool rock upstairs. I should have brought it down for show and tell. Maybe we should bring back show and tell. We had show and tell in our early episodes.
It's a video. You can always have show and tell.
Yeah. So, well, here you go. Picture of the kyanite. Yay, very cool.
You had quite the adventure in Virginia last week.
Yeah, so I was there all week, and we did a mine tour all day Monday, went to Atlantic Strategic, where they process basically fields and take out heavy mineral sands. And they do a couple of really neat separation process where they basically take dirt from a field and they separate out the heavy minerals, and then they pump the dirt back out as a slurry, and they fill the fields back in. So they all get reclaimed back to just being farmers' fields. And then they just work their way around from section to section. But then they send a concentrate to their processing facility, where they use magnetic separation and a variety of other separation methods. And they get zircon in a highly concentrated form. They get ilmenite, which is like an iron.
Zircon. That sounds like a superhero mineral.
It does, yeah. They get monazite, which can produce a variety of different rare earths. And so, yeah, really, really great team there. They gave us a tour, and then on Tuesday and Wednesday we had the conference, and I spoke twice. Gave a presentation on my adventures with pozzolan, which you're all well aware of. And I talked about claim staking in the West, because our audience was largely Eastern. It was good to kind of fill them in. And it was really cool because the conference was in Charlottesville, Virginia. It's not too far from Reston, Virginia, where the USGS is based. So they sent a bunch of people.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah, we had a bunch of people from the USGS, and so it was really neat to talk to them about how they collect their data and how they process it, and they got to meet with industry. So I'm hoping, as someone who's on the committee for the FGIM, that we can get the USGS to participate more in future years.
Absolutely. You know, they were on the Mineralocity program for a while.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool to hear their feedback.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of the data starts with them. We clean it up, we add our own data, and it goes back on the platform. So
that's awesome.
I definitely want to get them back on there if they're not currently.
Yeah, or at least have a chat with them. That's really neat.
Yeah, so I did that, and then we had another field trip on the last day. We went to Kyanite Mining Corporation. We saw the Kyanite mine. which they use to make this heat-resistant ceramics. They use it for space programs. They use it in special defense applications. They use it for a bunch of regular stuff. They produce a variety of products and sizes from the facility. And then we went to Buckingham Slate afterward, which now they just make landscape stone and stuff, and landscape rock. But previously they made slate, like big dimension slate, slate shingles, flagstone, and they still do from other parts of that unit. But Buckingham Slate was a really big producer for a long time.
That's cool.
Yeah, and they got bought by, I think they were owned by, it was an independent operation. They got bought by Summit. Summit was bought by Quikrete, and Quikrete actually kept that operation. They traded a bunch of their mines to Martin Marietta, but they actually kept that one. It's probably really high margin. It's good looking stuff.
Yeah.
We got to go down in the pit, got to see their plant, and then got to see where they used to do all the dimension stone stuff, which was really cool. And a reminder of my days doing the dimension stone stuff in Georgia.
Yeah, you did quite a bit of that.
Yeah, pictures of me with a big saw.
Yeah.
Dimension stone, very cool.
Did you get to take a sample home from that one?
I could have. I had a bag full of rocks from the Kyanite mine, like literally like 10 pounds.
Yeah,
so.
fair enough.
My suitcase weighed in at 48 pounds.
Ooh,
so.
you had 2 more pounds to go.
I know, I didn't take any more rocks. But,
well, good. I'm glad you had a great trip. It sounded like a conference well worth the time and all the time that you put in to help set it up as well.
It was really cool. And I also joined the Bates Memorial Scholarship as a trustee.
Very
officially.
Cool.
So I get to help out with that in the future. It's a scholarship that students can apply for, and they can go to the FGIM conference with all expenses paid.
Oh, good.
From door to door, literally. We had a great candidate this year that went, a great scholar, and we covered the Uber to pick her up from her house to take her to the airport, and we covered everything to the Uber to take her back to her house.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, all the meals, the attendance. She did some sightseeing stuff. That was all covered. It was,
Not a bad deal. That's great.
Yeah, it's a great little scholarship. So I'm excited to be involved in that. And I met some really cool people, some of which will be guests on the show.
Ooh,
so
spoiler.
Keep up for that.
So where's the FGIM going to be next year?
We are still deciding.
Okay.
We kind of threw it out to everyone, like, where do you want? And we got some ideas, and I threw out Idaho, and that seemed to kind of stick. So we're thinking about Idaho. Anyone from the Idaho Department of Geology that's interested in hosting the FGIM and having us come to Idaho and learn about Idaho and Idaho's industrial minerals.
That would be
which
awesome.
Which are various.
Yes.
Idaho produces quite a few, including pozzolan. Pozzolan, pumice, zeolites. Idaho is a pretty good industrial mineral producer, and we'd love to go up there. So, but I've got a connection through you.
Yeah, go to the Idaho Mining Museum.
Aunt Shirley, the Idaho Mining Museum.
That's right.
She's very well connected. I'm sure she can get me in touch with all the people at the state.
That would be fun.
To make it happen. So that's in progress. Once we have a location, I will make sure to announce it. And I'm still chugging along. I'm going to be writing another article this week for North American Mining. So I can stay on top of that. There's one coming out this month in May about the states of exploration that have teased a little bit. So check that out. Chugging along with Burgex. Lots of stuff going on.
Oh, Burgex is cruising.
Busy, lots of geo. But what's going on in your world? I talked a lot.
Well, I just got back from Alaska, visited Wrangell, Alaska, which is in the southeast part of the state, helping my boyfriend's grandma move out of her house. So that was a good family experience. But I just learned that Wrangell was a hub it was the gateway for mining back in its heyday.
Really?
So, well, there were 4 gold rushes going on at the same time. And so Wrangell was kind of the stepping stone to get to the other islands like Sitka or Juneau or wherever else they needed to go. So kind of interesting because Wrangell itself doesn't have any mining activity, but because of where it's located close-ish to Juneau and the rest of the smaller islands, it was a good stepping stone. So
what is their industry now aside from tourism?
Tourism.
Fishing?
Tourism, fishing, logging, and I think that's about it.
How big is the island?
The island itself is pretty big, but there's about 1,500 to 2,000 residents on it. So they do have an airport.
Yeah. I mean, you got there somehow.
One little regional airport and a ferry.
You didn't take a rowboat.
No, and didn't take the ferry. But very cool, like fishing community and lots to do on the outside.
And it's Wrangell, not Wrangell.
And it's Wrangell, yes.
Even though it's spelled Wrangell.
Yeah, but they're really close to some very cool rivers that have lots of places to explore. When I did the pack rafting trip, we went up the Steichen, and for 6 days we just traversed all the way down the river and stayed at the Forest Service cabin. So you can rent those out. Nice. You can rent those out and then just kind of traverse the entire river, which was really cool.
Yeah, that's really nice. They have those. That's super cool.
Oh, it's the only way to do it. Like you can camp, but like between the mosquitoes and then if you're wet, you got to dry out. It's just, and plus it's the southeast, so it's like if there's not a clearing already made, like you're not going to find one.
Well, with pack rafting, I mean, your odds of getting wet are greater than zero.
You know, it didn't rain that trip. It was beautiful the entire time. We got really lucky.
Yeah.
But it was still. But what's going on in the world of news? We have a big news update.
Yeah, so we like to mix our show up. We chat, we talk about what we're doing, and then we have guests like we had Dr. Bishop last week. Before that, we had Cody and JP from Earth Drilling, which was really great.
That was fun.
And I've been able to, a lot of the information we learned during that, share with clients and stuff about booking early. And I've let a lot of people know that they have, a variety of different capabilities and things. And we're actually getting some bids from them for some projects. So there are advantages to being a guest on our show. Can result in some commercial opportunities.
Might need to interview more drillers. I don't know.
Yeah. But then in between that, we like to catch up with the news. So here's what we have.
There's a lot going on in the news.
Yeah. So copper hit a record of roughly $14.5 thousand a ton in January, then got knocked around by the Iran conflict, which has knocked around all the metals. It's currently around $13,000 to $13.20 a ton. That's still up nearly 40% from the start of last year. So really good. Copper's biggest annual gain since 2009, and I don't think it's going anywhere. Gold peaked above 5,500 an ounce in January. It's now corrected. It corrected nearly 15% in March, which is a lot.
Wow.
But it's still holding above that $4,400 an ounce, and central bank buying is the floor. Retail has lost interest in gold and silver. A lot of the institutions have cooled. Central banks are still buying heavily.
Interesting.
Yep, and I could speculate about that more in a minute. Citibank sees $15,000 a ton possible for copper. And the Traxys CEO, Mark Kristoff, is calling for $15,000 a ton within 24 to 36 months. So 2 to 3 years. And then Goldman is more conservative, and they think it's going to stick around where it's at now for the year, 12,600, maybe a little bit of a drop. Probably the reality is somewhere in there. I think closer to that 15,000 a ton is possible. Data center demand, electrification, all of the things being built. But on the data center side, it's hitting serious headwinds with NIMBYism.
Yes.
Which we see a lot of NIMBY in mining. There's NIMBY in everything. But data centers are getting it. So here in Utah, Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary, has proposed a data center that's going to be 62 square miles, I saw in one estimate. So of like 400,000 acres.
Which is insane.
Huge area. I don't know how big it's really going to be. I've seen a bunch of numbers all over the place.
Right.
But it's going to be self-powering. It's on a natural gas pipeline. They're going to build their own power plants and actually put some back into the grid. Big data center. It's fairly remote. Box Elder County is a remote part of Utah. But they're having a vote tonight.
Really?
For the county commissioners on whether to let it go forward or not.
Interesting.
So the county commissioners have put it up to the public to vote on it.
I do not think that's going to go well.
I don't either. There's a split. So people in the rural areas, especially around it, are against it. people in the more urban parts of Box Elder County, which is funny when you say urban for Box Elder County because
it's still a small community.
Still small, but I think they're more pro the jobs and the economy and the growth.
Did they talk about a solution for water?
No. Well, probably.
Because, in Utah, that's going to be like your number one concern is water.
Right.
Because we had such a dry winter. So,
Well, and power. I mean, our power is cheap nationally compared to national averages, but it won't stay cheap with something like this. So, this data center, for context, is projected to use the amount of power the entire rest of the state uses.
Right.
So, it'll double our power consumption. But it's all going to this one project.
Right, and they're saying they're using solar.
Well, and natural gas.
And natural gas.
So they're planning on not pulling from the grid. They're planning on being a net contributor to the grid.
Which is good.
Which would lower electricity prices theoretically.
Theoretically, right. And that's the thing. It's like it's all in theory.
But very bullish for copper. The wild card, the Strait of Hormuz closure has triggered the sulfuric acid shortage. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Roughly 15 to 20% of global refined copper depends on sulfuric acid for excess EW processing. The DRC and Chile are most exposed. So last time we talked about the Strait of Hormuz and how the sulfur was restricted. China has banned exports of sulfuric acid. And we said, okay, well, who's going to be the most vulnerable? And we didn't have an answer. It's the DRC and Chile. So Chile is very, Chilean miners get 20% of their acid from China. China banned sulfuric acid exports starting May 1st. So just a few days ago. China's getting serious about their commodities.
They really are.
And their natural resources. So 20,000 tons of copper production are at risk right now. So I think that is very bullish, and I would lean towards Citibank's projection of $15,000 a ton.
Right, because I mean, what's the workaround there?
Well, there's lots of places that can produce sulfur. So sulfuric acid is best produced as a byproduct of oil and gas refining. You can extract the sulfur from dirty oil, thick crude, that like Venezuelan crude that's dirty and thick,
right,
has a lot of sulfur in it. You can extract that sulfur in the process and make sulfuric acid, but we don't currently do a lot of that in the US. So you can make it from there, you can produce the sulfur, and then you can set up acid plants on site. If you just bring in the elemental sulfur, you can make your own sulfuric acid on site. But it's like everything else. There's plenty of sulfur in the world.
Right.
We can get it from volcanoes. There's actually ways to get it from
It's
plants,
not the resource itself.
but it's the supply chain.
It's the supply chain and the infrastructure.
Yep. So
and having the public let you do it, as we talked about with NIMBYism.
Yep. Yeah. So a war 7,000 miles away is making every copper junior in Chile sweat. Yeah, so there's that. There's some exciting things going on in exploration. So Earth AI in Australia is so frustrated with Assay Lab turnarounds that are 5 months in some cases, which we've seen when things get hot.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we just paid Rush on a bunch of samples and they still took a few weeks.
Oh, yeah.
So they're building their own in-house labs to get assays done in 5 days. Because they're trying to build and train an AI, so they need quick feedback loops. So they're building their own labs. There's 7,000 meters of drill samples behind on data. So the new bottleneck isn't finding targets, it's confirming them. KoBold metals, who have talked about on and off. I've talked to the CEO, Josh, several times. He'd be a great guy to have on the show. KoBold just signed a multi-billion-dollar agreement with the DRC to do more AI-driven exploration there, starting at Monano. They are, as a reminder for people who haven't watched in a while or haven't heard about KoBold, they're backed by a bunch of venture capitalists here in the US.
I thought they were backed by like Bill Gates and Apple. And
yep, it's tech backing,
a
lot of heavy
guys.
tech backing.
Yeah.
And they have really over the last 10 years scaled, and they're exploring all over the world now. And they started for cobalt, but now they're looking at a lot of copper and things like that. But they still have a good cobalt portfolio.
Right.
Real-time core logging is finally a thing, or heading that direction. Major Drilling, Core Geosystems, and DJI Geoscience launched a Starlink-enabled real-time imaging system. So when the core comes out, it gets photographed and then uploaded to the database immediately, so you can look at it. There's a great anecdote about... I
thought that was already a thing.
I think they're streamlining it. So it's always been a thing. Like there's the automatic core loggers.
Yeah, because we've seen that where they rotate it and
they'll do the XRF and all that on spot. They'll do the mapping and map the fractures and all that.
Right.
But I think they're taking it to the next level where it all uploads immediately
so it's like just a conveyor belt or a assembly line in a sense. It's just like
and I think it just enables teams to move more quickly.
Right.
But yeah, you're right.
Streamline
it's not new. They're just combining different things in different ways. But
yeah.
Obviously that's the future. There's an anecdote about North Isle Copper and Gold. They used this real-time geochemistry tool that told them to keep drilling instead of stopping one hole, and then they hit strong mineralization. It was trending in the right direction, and they knew it because you can't always visually see grade. I mean, almost never. For some commodities, like copper, you can, if you really know a deposit intimately, you can look at the ore and tell the grade roughly. But like a lot of disseminate gold deposits and stuff, you have no idea it's getting richer. But
I always love it when the geologists show you, like, this is where the gold is right here, and you're like, I have no idea what you're looking at.
But this real-time geochemistry tool was able to estimate in real time that it was increasing and said, hey, the right elements are here, keep going. It's enriching where they wouldn't ordinarily know. And you'll see a lot more of that stuff. The most science fiction story I have today is...
It does sound a little sci-fi, for sure.
Oh, I haven't got to the sci-fi yet.
Oh.
No, that's kind of boring stuff, honestly. None of that's surprising to me. That technology's been around for a long time. They're just combining it with Starlink and different things to put together.
Yeah.
This is the most science fiction story. That was the headline. I was introducing it.
Oh,
not telling you that was.
My bad.
Discovery Genomics, a Vancouver company in BHP's Explore 2026 cohort, is using microbial DNA sequencing to detect buried copper deposits. They're looking at how microbes living in soil reflect what's in the rock kilometers below. So they're actually looking at the DNA now. So obviously running super trace and ultra trace on plants to determine what's in the soil is not new.
Right.
But now they're actually looking at the DNA.
That's so fascinating.
Of the plants, which is pretty interesting.
Right.
Or not the plants, sorry, the microbes in the soil. Yeah,
right.
So we've looked at plants. Obviously you can look in water, you can look at the plants. You can study the soil itself, but they're studying the DNA in the microbes in the soil. So that's new and an exciting development. Explore 2026, they have their biggest cohort yet this year. They have 10 companies. Frontier X, Canadian uranium play, Litchfield Minerals, Australian copper zinc play, Orion Minerals in South Africa, Otrera sediment-hosted copper in South America, and the Utah Geological Survey is in there.
Woo!
It's part of their cohort this year.
Very good.
And UGS is great. We know all the folks over there. They're really good to work with.
Oh, yeah.
They were heavily participant in our FGIM last year because it was here in Salt Lake. And it was unfortunate they didn't go out to Virginia, but I get it. They've got plenty of work to do here. I have a bunch more news. I have 4 pages of news, but since we've already covered quite a bit, I won't bore you with all of it. But I do have a few more. So Talon Metals in Minnesota, we're getting more progress up in the Great Lakes area with projects.
Right.
they're getting traction. They're getting permitting delays.
They got approvals.
They're getting things approved. But Talon Metals has confirmed a stacked nipper.
You've been hanging out with your kids for too long.
Yeah. They confirmed a stacked nickel copper cobalt system with a new 4th mineralized level.
Wow.
So, nickel, battery metal, copper, battery metal, cobalt, battery metal, all in the same system.
Big deal. That's what that means. It's a big deal.
And closer to home, Bunker Hill is planning on restarting in June.
Really?
And they're continuing underground exploration. And they just did some underground drilling, and they hit 11 ounces a ton silver and 28.4% lead in the same intercepts. So Old District, New Life, a lot of lead produced there, but some good silver. Bunker Hill's mostly lead mine, but good silver there. And I met a geologist just this last week who worked at Bunker Hill, and it was really fun to talk to him about what they're doing there and what they've done and everything, which is really
Is he
cool.
still a geologist there?
He's still a geologist, but he's at Sibelco working at the Spruce Pine Mine.
Wow.
Mining the high purity quartz.
Amazing.
Yep, and that's very interesting and very secretive.
Yeah.
So yeah, his name's Sean. He'd be a great guest, but I know they're extremely secretive about
Maybe
what
we
they're
could
doing.
just talk about his past life.
He
and
would
just
love to
talk about Bunker Hill and
yeah.
not talk about any of that.
Yeah.
Because I would love to hear about it, but you got to be sensitive to that kind of stuff.
And he was kind enough, if he's watching, thank you, to give me a ride back and forth every day to the conference when I was in Virginia. So yes. Yeah, Sean and Dave were very kind and helpful, but both geologists with Sibelco, and Sean was with Bunker Hill. So
very cool.
And we had some great conversations because he asked about down in the mine. He said there were like mining claims that were vertical and not horizontal, and he's like one group would own one vein, another group would own another vein.
Oh my word!
And I knew exactly how that had happened. So the apex law.
Yes.
Whoever owned the claim over the apex of the vein owned that underground. So it's all consolidated now. It's not an issue. But back in the day,
oh, for sure it was
you could own different veins in the same mine and have to keep track of that for royalties and everything else.
Could you imagine? I can't even imagine how confusing
law.
that would be.
Yeah.
Of to know whose is whose and where's and the hows and
just good surveying and engineering.
No, absolutely, it's amazing.
But back in the day, and that's all part of the Apex Law. If you want to learn more about the Apex Law and how all that came about, it's intimately tied with Montana history. It involves the Rockefellers, it involves J.P. Morgan, it involves a bunch of other crazy characters. There's a book called The War of the Copper Kings.
It's a great read.
Very much worth reading if you haven't read it.
And if you haven't gone to Butte, Montana, definitely put that on your list.
Yep.
Places
so
rich with history.
There's a lot going on. The copper pipeline is very thin, and we talked about this last time we were together. Discoveries are smaller, they're deeper, they're more expensive to extract. There's major disruptions in the copper supply. Grasberg had a mudslide. They had to declare force majeure. Kamoa Kakuka has had its delays. El Tiente in Chile had its delays. And as we've talked about a lot on this show, 60% of copper demand growth through 2030 is grid and power infrastructure driven by AI data centers. Not EVs, not wind turbines, power infrastructure.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, I've got a bunch more stuff, but I think
that's a wrap.
It's a good episode with some good points, and we will get some more interviews lined up. And yeah, maybe this next week you'll hear from us again, talk about some more news, maybe dig into the War of the Copper Kings and some Apex Law, a little mining history. And then the following week we will very likely have a fantastic interview. So working on scheduling.
And speaking of interviews, if you're a geologist and you want to come work with some awesome people.
We're always hiring A players.
Always.
Yep.
Burgex.com, come find us.
Yep. Field techs too. You want to get out, field adventure.
Be a part of the exploration wave. Now is the time.
Yep. It's the time.
Now is the time. But anyway, until next time.
Until next time. Take care. Good.
You gotta go.